One of the most frustrating moments is when your landing page looks great, but still doesn't convert, and you have no idea why. Visitors scan the headline, feel nothing, and bounce before your design even has a chance to do its job. Most people assume it's a design problem. So what do? They redesign it, make it prettier, add sections, add complexity, and conversions usually get worse because design doesn't convert, attention does. Safe design is expensive because ignored pages don't generate revenue. After building over 500 landing pages, one pattern is impossible to ignore. Pages rarely fail because they look bad, they fail because they blend in. The pages that win, they command attention instantly. Hey, if you're new here, I'm Rashid. I'm a growth marketer with over 9 years in this game, and I'm obsessed with what actually converts. In this video, I'll show you how to design landing page creative that earns the scroll and drives action. So let's break it down. Look, every visit is a micro decision. You usually only get one shot when someone lands on your page. You only have their attention for a few seconds, and there are others fighting for their time and attention as well. So when someone lands, they subconsciously ask 3 questions. Is this for me? Why should I care? Can I trust this? You see, the best landing pages win with consumption first, because consumption always precedes conversion. People don't judge your design first. They read your headline and decide if it's personally relevant. Then they look at your design to decide if they trust you. If you lose them in the first 5 seconds, the page is dead. No second chances, not they'll come back later, it's dead. And that scroll, it's the first buy-in signal. Here's the tell. If somebody stays above the fold for over 5 to 7 seconds and scrolls slowly, they are engaged. If they bounce instantly, something is broken. Your message, your creative, or your positioning. So the real question becomes, how do you earn the scroll? Let me show you something. In Mad Men, Don Draper was pitching Bethlehem Steel, a company selling a commodity most people never get excited about. He presents 3 nearly identical ideas: New York skyline, Chicago skyline, and Pittsburgh skyline, each with the same line: New York City, brought to you by Bethlehem Steel. Each one with city name and Bethlehem Steel. The client looks at him and says, Don, they're kind of plain, aren't they? And Don replies, we can throw the artwork away in a minute. But the idea, it's so basic you feel like you already know it. You just haven't thought of it lately. So the lesson here is simple. People don't convert when something looks impressive. They convert when something feels immediately clear. Your landing page hero works the same way. You don't win with decoration. You win by removing uncertainty. So you have to make the message obvious, make it relevant, make the decision feel safe. That's how you earn the scroll. And that story reveals something most people completely miss about landing pages. The highest converting pages all follow the same underlying structure. If your creative isn't converting, it's usually because one of these 5 pieces is missing. First is the hero hook. This is where attention is won or lost, and your headline carries most of the weight. Your job is simple. Make a bold, clear promise that feels immediately relevant. I use the 4 U's. Urgent, unique, useful, ultra specific. Then you support it with a subheadline that adds further clarity, a visual that shows the product or service in action, and a call to action that feels low friction and trustworthy. By trustworthy, I mean reviews, star ratings, or logos. Number 2 is the old way. This is where you show your audience the pain of staying where they are. So you agitate the frustrations, expose the flaws in the current solutions, and raise the stakes. When people clearly see the cost of inaction, they kind of lean in. Number 3 is the new way. So position your product or service as the obvious upgrade. Show the transformation, connect features directly to outcomes. You also want to answer objections before they surface. You see, clarity reduces resistance. Number 4 is evidence. This is where belief happens. Testimonials, case studies, specific results. Numbers make people stop scrolling and start trusting. And without proof, even great creative struggles to convert. And the 5th and final point is the call to action. Great call to actions reduce risk. Make the next step feel easy and safe. And remember, not everyone is ready to buy. A strong secondary call to action keeps hesitant visitors in your world. So instead of losing them forever, get them to opt in to a guide or something of high value. You see, if you master these 5 pieces, your page stops blending in and starts pulling people forward. But before you fix it, you need to understand why most creative fails in the first place. Because here's the problem, and why most creative kills conversions. The truth is, and here's what most people miss, is your creative isn't failing because it's ugly or beautiful. It's failing because it doesn't do 2 things. 1, interrupt the pattern, and 2, match the identity. When people land on your page, they are already in a browsing pattern. They've seen thousands of hero sections, landing pages, soft gradients, stock photos, corporate buzzwords before. Their brain filters it out automatically. That's called a pattern blindness. To break through this, you need to do a pattern interrupt, something that's fresh to snap attention. But, interrupting the pattern alone isn't enough. Your page also needs to do a pattern match. It has to reflect something your audience already identifies with. If your audience is founders or growth leaders, what do they see every day? Packed calendars, overflowing inboxes, constant Slack notifications, right? And you want to try and show that visually, because their brain will instantly think, this is for me, because that is a identity trigger. And most landing pages fail because they interrupt nothing and match nothing. They blend in, and blending in kills conversions. So if blending in kills conversions, how do you actually stand out? Here's where things get dangerous. You hear people say, design doesn't matter, ugly pages convert. And you'll see examples like ClickFunnels where they do old school direct response pages, landing pages that look like they were built in 2005, but they print money, right? So what's the truth? Here's what's actually happening, okay? Ugly pages work for one reason. They interrupt their pattern. Like nails on a chalkboard, you can't ignore them. Eugene Schwartz explained this perfectly. Beauty has a narrow definition, ugliness is infinite. An ugly thing in a world of beauty stands out. If everyone in your space uses the same soft colors, clean layouts, and polished design, the ugly page grabs attention. But here's the catch most people miss. Ugly interrupts the pattern, beautiful builds trust. Because studies show that 75% of consumers judge a company's credibility based on its design. A poorly designed website can drive visitors away, while a professional, visually appealing site instills confidence, right? But the thing is, conversion lives in the tension between the two, ugly and beautiful. So which one do you choose? I'd say neither, because you don't guess, you test. And that's number 1 rule of landing pages. You always are testing. And I'll show you how to do this exactly later on. But first, you need to understand how high converting creative is actually built. Let's break it down. So step 1 is steal like an artist. First, let me tell you a myth. You don't need to be creative to create a great landing page and design a beautiful page, right? You need to be a good collector. Picasso said this, good artists copy, great artists steal. But he didn't mean plagiarism. The guy who wrote the book Steal Like an Artist, he makes a brilliant point. When you steal from enough sources, your influences become invisible. You take a bit from here, a bit from there, a bit from over there, and you add your own spin to it. And eventually, people think it's completely original. But you know the truth. It's a combination of 10 different influences that nobody else combined in quite that way. So here's the exact process. First is step 1, gather and collect 5 to 10 successful landing pages from different industries. Don't just look at your competitors, look at SaaS, e-commerce, B2C, anything that converts. Good marketers are obsessive savers. They are always screenshotting and adding things to a swipe file. Here's a secret weapon for design inspiration. It's called SaaSlandingpage.com. And why is it good? Because these are companies spending millions on their websites. So that is a good way to try it out. Step 2 is extract what makes this work. What's the underlying principle? Is it the headline structure, the visual hierarchy, the way they are using social proof in their text, right? And that leads to step 3, which is strategic combination. So combine elements from different sources until something new appears. Again, this isn't plagiarism. This is how creative work happens. You're not waiting for a completely original idea to appear from nowhere. You're deliberately studying what works and combining it in new ways. So that is step 1 for using creative that converts which is steal like an artist. Step 2 is use AI to generate creative. Now, here's where AI becomes your unfair advantage. But most use AI wrong. They say, write me a landing page and generic corporate jargon that sounds like every other page, right? Here's what I do instead. I use Claude. I recommend you do too when it comes to content. And I give Claude the framework, the same 5-step framework I mentioned earlier, and let it fill in each section with clarity. So here's the exact prompt structure I use. And you can grab this in the link in the description. It's fairly simple. Fill in the gaps yourself and then let Claude do the rest. And you will have great landing page copy, right? You get structured copy that follows their framework. No generic AI copy, no corporate jargon, just clear, benefit-focused messaging. Then I actually run it through the Hemingway app and make sure it's readable because I aim to make it a 5th grade reading level or lower. Again, it's not dumbing it down, it's making it clear. Like I said before, consumption precedes conversion. If your copy is too complex, people bounce. Simple as that. So when it comes to AI as well, you also want to use it for visuals. For images, I use a mix of Gemini or ChatGPT with their image generation tool. Here's the thing, 90% of landing page success doesn't matter if your creative sucks, right? You need a pattern interrupt, like I mentioned before, something that breaks the visitor's usual flow and grabs their attention immediately. Like I said, this is called the visual hook or scroll stopper. But before using AI, try using your product screenshots or using photos of yourself or anything else to add authenticity. But if you need custom visuals and do something quick, AI can do it within seconds, obviously. But I recommend trying and testing between the two. So that's step 2, using AI for creative. Step 3 is use Framer to build it fast. Once you have your copy and your visuals, you need to build the page, right? And my favorite tool is Framer. It's low code, perfect for simple architectures, and is actually optimized for page speed. Here's how I use it. I actually go to Framer's template library, pick a template that matches my layout needs, customize it with the copy and visuals, and you're actually done within 20 minutes. And if you follow the same process, you're 80% done in 20 minutes. Seriously. Like I said before, Framer is optimized for web speed, so your page speed will load fast, which is really important for conversions as well. So those are the 3 steps for creative that converts to help you do that pattern interrupt and pattern match. Step 1, steal like an artist. Step 2 is use AI as your unfair advantage. And step 3, execution, and using execution with web builders like Framer. So with all that said and done, it's really important you do this next step, and which I mentioned earlier, which is split test your creative. You see, tools like Framer or Convert.com make this easy. Here's what I test. Test 1 is ugly versus polished, like I mentioned before. Run the same copy with 2 different designs, see which one converts better. Another test is headline variations. So use the same design, test different headlines. This is the easiest way and easiest lever to move when it comes to split testing. And another test is visual style. Product screenshots versus lifestyle images versus AI generated visuals. At the end of the day, I actually get nervous if I don't have multiple split tests running at any given time. Why is that? Because split testing, in my opinion, is the easiest way to get results. In fact, it's the single most effective way to immediately double or even triple your conversions. So do this quickly yourself. Pick a headline, test it, and over time, it compounds. And you'll keep iterating your way to that bullseye of your conversion rates. So that is how you will get results. Creative doesn't kill conversions because it's ugly or beautiful. It kills conversions when it doesn't interrupt the pattern and match identity. And you'll never know what works for your audience until you test it. So steal like an artist, use AI as your unfair advantage, and build it fast with Framer, and then test everything. That's how you win in the AI economy. If you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button. I break down conversion systems like this pretty much every other week. And if you like this video, I'm pretty sure you'll like this one coming up.